Today's lecture is based on unit number 5. Unit number 5 start with these points. That first one is normal distribution, then second is Bayes theorem and naive Bayes classifier, and after that naive belief network is there. Mid mode, these are the definitions we will need to know in this unit. So I kept that in presentation. Okay, so we'll start with the first, that is normal distribution. So what is normal distribution actually? A normal distribution is a bell-shaped curve. Now this shape is a bell-shaped curve. Normal distribution is a bell-shaped curve. Is I am audible, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will continue then. Okay. So normal distribution is a bell-shaped curve. So you can see this in the diagram. That is, this particular is in a bell-shaped curve, and this particular point there, where is my present mouse pointer, it is at the peak. Okay. So this normal distribution is with respect to our probability distribution. So where at the center, this particular center of this bell-shaped curve is having value equal to, is the all values are equal at the center. Now what are these values? This x bar is our mean, here it is explained. Capital M is the medium and Z is the mode. So values of mean, medium and mode are 0. Or all values is equal at the center, and that are 0. The left portion of this bell-shaped curve, that is from mu to the minus infinity, that is minus infinity to the mu, or mu to the minus infinity is 0.5, and from mu to the plus infinity, this particular portion which is covered under this bell-shaped curve is our 0.5. So the total area of this bell-shaped curve is, that is 1, and the half is from the mu center to the left side and half is from center to the right side. So we are looking for the probability distribution, and this distribution will be at max equal to 1. So this particular minus infinity is going to touch to the x-axis. Here also it is going to touch the plus infinity. So we are calculating the area, that is what the normal distribution. Now we'll understand this through the example. So this area based questions as an example. So z is equal to x minus mu divided by the standard deviation. So here z is not the mode. Here z is what? The value which represent the area. Okay. X is the required value which we need to find out. That is what area in a normal distribution this x covers. X is actually a question which is asked. Mu is the mean of all values, whatever the data sample is given, and this sigma symbol, that is for the standard deviation. So let's say one example. That example, in that given data, mean is 12. If some data set is there, from that data set, a mean value comes 12. Standard deviation is 4. This is given, and we need to calculate probability of x, which is greater than or equal to 20. And a z table is given. Z is that value which represent the area, and that table is generally given, and this given values are, if z is in between 0 to 1, then the area it will cover, that is 0.3413, and if the z value is from 0 to 2, then it will cover the area 0.4772. Okay, so this is the first example. In that, asked only to calculate probability of x greater than or equal to 20, and this data is given, that is mean, standard deviation and the table values of the z, where z is the value which represent the area. Here z is not the mode, as we have seen in the previous slide. Here it is written z, but this z is mode actually, and this z is the value which represent the area. Now we'll see that how to solve this to understand through normal distribution. So as per the formula, that is this z is equal to x minus mu divided by sigma. So 20, that is the x value, that is, it is asked that calculate probability of x is greater than or equal to 20. So this x value is 20 minus 12. 12 is what? 12 is the mean value, and standard deviation is 4. So 20 minus 12 divided by 4, this z value comes 2. Okay. So on this our normal distribution Bell curve, mu is, that is the center value, that is the mean. Mean is the 12 which is given. So center value in the bell shaped curve diagram will be 12. And x value is what? That is greater than 20. So obviously it should be to the right side of this center. This value is 12. So right side value of x will be 20. So let's say this is the particular line where x is in a 20. Okay. And what is asked, that is probability of, calculate probability of x greater than or equal to 20. So we need to calculate this shaded area. If you see this horizontal lines, this is the shaded area. So we need to calculate this shaded area, that will be our probability of x greater than or equal to 20. So now this, to calculate this area, this particular area will be what? Now this, if you'll observe from center to the plus infinity, total area is what? 0.5, right? From center to the plus infinity, the area is 0.5. So 0.5 I written minus 0.4772. Now this 0.4772 is the area value which is come from x equal to 12 to x mu equal to 12 to the x equal to 20. So from this total area, look at the mouse pointer, this complete area from mu equal to 12 to the plus infinity is 0.5, right? From this complete area 0.5, we are removing this particular portion, that is non-shaded portion, from x equal to 12 to mu equal to 12 to x equal to 20, that is 0.4772. This 0.4772 is given to us, that is this, when z is equal to, in between 0 to 2, then it is 0.4772, and our z value is 2, right? So we have considered this 0.4772, and the shaded area will come, this particular shaded area come will result as 0.0228. So this is the first example to find out the area under the normal distribution. Okay. Next, second example, let's say calculate probability of x less than or equal to 8. Fine. So as per the formula, that is 8 is the x value minus 12 is the mean divided by standard deviation. This 12 and 4, it is given to us, and the result will come minus 1. Z value will come minus 1 here. So plotted the bell shaped curve, center mu, that is mean, is 12. At the center value of z is 0, and for x is less than or equal to 8, so x will come to the left hand side, that is x equal to 8, that is 8 is less than 12, so it will come on the left hand side of the mu equal to 12. So let's say this particular line is our x equal to 8, and we need to calculate x less than or equal to 8. So the left portion of this particular horizontal line of x equal to 8 is our shaded portion, and we need to calculate the probability of this shaded portion. So this will be computed as an area of the shaded portion. So shaded area here, that is probability of x is less than or equal to 8, and this result is what, if you'll observe that from mu equal to 12 to minus infinity, total is 0.5. Within that we are removing this unshaded area. This unshaded area from the z table, that is when z is equal to in between 1, then it is 0.3413. As z is equal to minus 1, so obviously it's not a minus 1 for us, so that z is equal to, we need to consider 1, right? So 0.5, because there is no any concept from the center, this will be the plus side and this will be the minus side, there was no any sort of thing. So z is minus 1, but it is an, obviously it should be the 1 only, minus we are not considering. So we are taking the z table value as an a 0.3413. 0.5 minus this particular 0.5 from center to the minus infinity minus this unshaded area will get the area of this shaded area. So the shaded area will come 0.1587. So this is the probability of x which is less than or equal to 8. Okay, so next third example, that calculate the probability of x less than or equal to 16. Probability of x, this 4 example I have taken which will cover this all. So calculate P of x is less than or equal to 60. So Z is equal to 16 minus 12 divided by 4. X is less than or equal to 60. So this is our x value, mean value, standard deviation. Z will come 1. Now we have drawn this bell-shaped curve to find out the area, required area actually. So at the center, that is mean is equal to 12. We need to calculate the x value less than or equal to 16. So let's put our horizontal line here that will represent x equal to 12. Center is x mu equal to 12, that is the mean. And shaded area is less than or equal to 16. So less than means that is less than to the 16. That is complete. This shaded area will be the required area, right? Now the computation of this shaded area will be 0.5 plus 0.3413, that is z is equal to 1. So from z table it represents the value as 0.3413. So this 0.5 from center to the left plus this particular from center to up to x equal to 16, this value is 0.3413. So total result is 0.8413. This is the required area. So normal distribution will give the answer as an 0.8413 as the probability for x is less than or equal to 16. Now last example that will be composed of this two, that is we need to calculate the probability of x is less than or equal to 16 divided by x is greater than or equal to 12. So this is of the form probability of a by b, and that is equal to probability of a intersection b and probability of b, right? So we'll move to the next slide. Now see that computation of the required area. So first a bell-shaped curve is drawn, right? Mean is 12. First x value is that x is less than or equal to 16. So this particular way I represented the shaded area for this x is less than or equal to 16. So first we'll mark x equal to 16. That is obviously it is 16 is more than 12, so it will come to the right side. And let's say here is the x equal to 60. So less than or 60 will be this complete area, right? Next, that is divided by x in calculation, that divided by x is greater than or equal to 12. So x is greater than or equal to 12 marked this way. So first we'll need to see that x is greater than or equal to 12. So x is greater than or equal to 12 will be that 12 is our center. So greater than 12 will be what? This portion, right? This complete portion will be our x is greater than or equal to 12. Now intersection section, that is the first part, that is probability of a by b is equal to probability of a intersection b. So if you'll observe, that is this particular portion is the intersection of this probability of x is less than or equal to 16 and probability x is greater than or equal to 12. This will be the intersection. So this intersection is in between at the center for mu equal to 12, z equal to 0 comes. And from previous example, we can see x equal to 12, 16, then z is equal to 1. So here the computation is shown. So from 0 to 1, this area will be what? 0.343. This value came from our z table that is given to us. So that is the probability of A intersection B divided by probability of B. Now probability of B. So for us B is x is greater than or equal to 12. So all portion from to the right side from the center, that is mu equal to 12 to the plus infinity. So as per the definition of in a normal distribution from center to the right hand side up to the plus infinity, the area is 0.5, right? So this value is 0.5. So probability of this a by b, that is x is less than or equal to 16 divided by probability of b, that is x is greater than or equal to 12, will come 0.6826. Okay, so this is the end of the standard deviation. Okay, so so is there is any doubt in normal distribution? In normal Somebody just talk with me so that I can feel that everything is going fine. Hello.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Understood.
Yes,
This,
sir.
so this normal distribution is with respect to the probability distribution. So probability is in between 0 to 1, right? So in bell shape, normal distribution is represent. I just summarize it. Normal distribution is represented by the bell shaped curve. Bell shaped curve is like in a wave, right? So at the peak center is the mean. So at the center, mean equal to mode equal to medium. All values are equal, right? And for example, we have seen, you can go through this later on also. This presentation I will share you. Okay, okay, so we'll continue with the next now. So next topic, that is a mode, median, mean, range, and standard deviation. So when we'll deal with the data set, this will a numerical representation of the data set is done by using this five terms at most of the time. So generally, with respect to the data set, visual representation of the data set is shown with the various diagrams. Within that, let's say first that is histogram. Next is an stem plots. Next is a pie charts. Few of the example I have taken here. That is a visual representation of the data set. Okay. Now, representing a data set by numbers. So for that, we are describing the distribution of the data set by using the numbers, that is mode, median, mean, range, standard deviation. Generally, these terms are used for representing the data set in terms of the numbers. And this previous slide will represent the data set, that is a visual representation like histogram, pie chart. Various presentation ways are there for visual presentation. So representation of data was set by the numbers through this. Now this mode, median, mean will measure the center of the data set. Okay. And measure of the spread is through the range and the standard deviation. So mode, mean, medium, that will measure the center of the data set. That is the central tendency of that complete data set. Whatever the total number of data samples are there in the data set. So with respect to the center, we'll talk on the mode, median, and mean, and the spread, that how this data sample spreads in a complete data set, that will be represented by these terms range and the standard deviation. Okay. So as an example, so that first we'll say what is mode. Mode refers to the data value that is most frequently observed in the data set. Refers to the data value that is most frequently observed. Let's say we are having this data set with the total data samples 5 plus 4, 9 data samples, and this particular value represent the height, one of the attribute from this data sample. Okay. So mode represent what refer to the data value that is most frequently observed. So if you'll observe that 154 is 3 times as compared to any other value. So mode of this data set of this 9 data sample with the height as an attribute will be 154. That is the mode. Okay. Next, that is the, so mode is 154. Next, that is median. Median is what it referred to the data value that is positioned in the middle of an ordered data set. So this data sample is given to us, right? The same data sample, and median represent that its data value that is positioned in the center. So what we do generally, will do this, that is whatever the data set is provided, that we are writing in the values we are representing or looking in terms of ascending order. Right. So these are the total 9 data samples. So this value is just kept in ascending way because median refers to the data value that is positioned in the middle of an order. So total 9, so 5 is the middle value, and this middle value is 154. That is median is 154. Okay. So the median is generally computed as a number of data values, that is total data samples plus 1 divided by 2. Okay. So total is here 9. So 9 plus 1, 10 divided by 2. So the position of the medium will be fifth one. So 154. So this will work out with respect to the odd data sample. Let's say here it is 9. So the 5 is coming, right? So let's say suppose there are the 10 data samples. For that, the middle position we are computing. So as per the formula, middle position will be 5.5 and no number is there. So what we are taking the average of this fifth and sixth term. Okay. So if it is odd number, then center median you can find easily. If it is not an odd number, that number of samples are 10, then whatever the middle value, that is here it is 5.5 times. So fifth value plus one, that is sixth value. We are taking the average of this, and median is termed as an 154. Okay. Next, that is the measure of the center, that is mean. Mean is what? It's an arithmetic average. So arithmetic average for the 10 data samples will be the addition of that and divided by total number of samples. So that is the mean. Okay. So median, that is the physical midpoint actually, and mean is the average, right? So with respect to this data sample, this 12 will be the medium is coming. So this highlighted part 12 is the medium, that is physical midpoint, and mean of this all will be, that is the balance point 10. The way of finding that in medium the answers come 12, and in mean, with respect to the definition of mean, it is representing the balance point and it comes 10. So as per the things with respect to the data sample, so this will be representing what if two peoples on the left hand side and three peoples on the right hand side, their weights are equal. Okay, so this is a balancing, we can say. So it balancing them. So this is the way to look at the data with respect to medium and the mean. Okay. Because median both are talk the same thing, and median gives the result as answer as in a 12, and mean answer will with respect to this data set will come 10, right? Next, that is the measure of spread. Two measures are there, range and the deviation. Okay. So definition of range is equal to max minus mean. So the same data set, 10 sample points. So range will come, maximum is 196. So 196 will not be there. This is 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are the 9 values, and at last that is 196. That is I missed actually. Last value is 196. So maximum is 196 minus minimum, that is 139. This is what the range, the result of this. Next we'll see the standard deviation. So the formula for standard deviation, square root of summation of xi minus x bar, that is the x mean, whole square divided by n minus 1. This is the formula to compute the standard deviation of the data set. Okay. So now we'll see the example for this, the computation of this S. So xi our data sample, we have taken the 5 samples, 10, 12, 16, 19, 20. Xi minus x bar. So this x bar is the mean. Mean is equal to 15.4. That is the average. 10 plus 12 plus up to 20 divided by 5. That result will come 15.4. Right? So this second column of the table will be xi minus x bar. So these are the results. Okay. Last table is that xi minus x bar. So these are the values. After going through this, we'll get these values, right? And x minus x bar, the same values, and square of that. Whatever the middle column, square of that. So this computation sum total comes 75.2, will be represented here, divided by n minus 1. N minus 1 is 4. Okay, so total S will come 4.336. So that is the way to computation of the standard deviation. Okay. So standard deviation told us that it tells us actually that how close the values in a data set are to the mean. Standard deviation inform us that how close the values in a data set are to the close to the mean. So now if the mean is smaller one, let's say mean is a smaller one, then standard deviation, that's how close the values to the data set are to the mean. So we'll observe that many of the values will fall near to the mean. These all are in our data set with respect to the height. So if the standard deviation value comes small, then it means that max of the values, max of the heights will come near to the mean of this complete data set. Okay. And distribution will be what, that with respect to the mean, number of data samples are more, right? This represent what, the total number of values that are more as compared to this, it will go to the right or left hand side of the particular mean value. Okay. Now that spread is also small from the mean. So spread is up to only 1 unit from the left to the mean to the and right to the mean also. So the standard deviation, if it is small, then it's all measure, most of the values fall near to the mean, and spread is also smaller one. Okay. Now second case, that is if let's say suppose standard deviation comes some higher values. So that means what, there are very few, not more, a few of the samples those who are near to the mean, and many of the samples those who are spread from mean to the left as well as from mean to the right value. Okay. So that is with respect to high, that is at the mean, some values are there. So this total number of values at the center near to the mean, and if you see that 3 units we are going to the left and to the right also. That is spread is wide from its mean for the high standard deviation. So spread is more if the standard deviation is more. Spread is small, lesser spread there if the standard deviation is small. Okay. Now next term is that is it seems same, that is variance and standard deviation. So definition of standard deviation and example we have seen. Now variance is, the formula is s square is equal to the same thing. If you observe that square root is removed and this s is the make the power of s, that s square, and that is termed as a variance. So simple variance also it is termed as the variance and standard deviation, also it is termed as a simple variance and the simple standard deviation. Okay, so standard deviation and the variance difference is what, difference is only that removing the square root and making it as a square. Now next topic is an introduction to the Bayes theorem. So as we are aware about what is Bayes theorem, is in a conditional probability, right? So probability of A by B. So in that we say we are computing probability of A given that probability of B, right? And I think in previous lecture also we have gone through this topic. So I'm going again to this because it's in unit number 5 to some different example. So let's say suppose that you have planned for bike riding. Let's suppose he is planning or planned bike riding. So and he thought about that if planning is done, but what if it rains today? Okay. So generally, what we'll do, that same person in our example, what he has searched a best weather forecasting channel on the TV, right? And he observed that he just started the TV and go through this XYZ weather forecaster, best forecaster with respect to the weather, and they predicted that today is a rainy day. Okay. So obviously will not rely on the one media. So that what we'll do generally, we'll go through the internet, and again he has searched on his website by doing further research on the internet, and it is observed that rainy weather will be that 90%, that is 90 divided by 100, and dry weather is 80%, that is 80 divided by 100. So more probability that he has observed that 90% probability of rainy weather will be there and 80% probability of the dry weather, right? So based on this, whatever given by the prediction data, where he has changed his plan that rain. So instead of that bike riding, he has changed his plan to a rain dance party. Hmm? Would be so much fun as compared to the bike riding. Okay. So as per the plan, he called to the friends. That here it is. He has called to the all friends. All friends are gathered together with respect to the timing, whatever is given. Right. for the dance party, rain dance party, and if you'll observe that there was no rain on that day, right? So obviously that no rain was there, so that plan is get failed. So where did, now we'll look at with respect to the Bayes theorem, that where did things go wrong with respect to this. So let's see that Bayes theorem. So in Bayes theorem, these are the four terms generally comes, that P of R. P of R is what? That is probability of rain in your area. That probability of the rain. Okay. P of F is what? That is probability of weather forecaster predicting rain. Probability of F, that is probability of weather forecaster predicting the rain. Probability of F by R, that is probability F by given that R, that probability of rain in your area. So this probability of F by R is probability of weather forecaster predicting rain when it has actually rained. P of F by R is what? Probability of weather forecaster predicting rain when it has actually rained. And last term, that probability of R by F, it's probability of raining when the forecaster has predicted rain. Probability of raining, probability of R by F, probability of raining when the forecaster has predicted rain. Okay, so these first two terms are easy to understand. Some of you are having some confusion with respect to these two. So in that second term is what? That is given. Second term is what? Given. That is R. R is what here? That when it has actually rained. That is what this R. When it has actually rained. That is given to us. Okay. For the second case, second part, that is F, it is given, and this is what? That the forecaster has predicted rain. Forecaster has predicted. That is the value, that event is already occurred. Right? Predicted rain, and it when it has an actual rain, that is already happened one. This R and F. Okay. Now with respect to our previous example, there was, it was shown by the weather forecaster 90% of the chances that there was a rainy day, right? So how the forecaster are predicted this 90%? We'll say that, let's say in every 100 days it rains 10 days and it doesn't rain 90 days. Okay, in every 100 days 10 days it rains and doesn't rain 90 days. So it rains for the 10 days, so means probability of rainy day will be what? 0.1, right? That is 10 divided by 100, 0.1, right? And weather forecaster predicted is it 90%. That weather forecaster predicts 90% out of this 10 days. So in actual, weather forecaster gives this 90% as a value for the rainy day. Why? Because he has predicted that is from this 10 days. That is, weather forecaster predicts 90% of the out of the 10 days. So 9 days correctly rain prediction. 9 days correctly rain prediction by out of this 10 days by this weather forecaster. XYZ, ABC XYZ weather forecaster. Now with respect to this right hand side, doesn't rain in 90 days, right? And whenever no rain, forecaster predicts it's 80%. You will see that in the example, that is 90% that rainy weather and dry weather is 80%. Okay. So whenever no rain, forecaster predicts 80% correctly. Means out of this 90 days, he predicts 80% correctly, right? And 20% wrongly, right? So if you observe that 20% wrongly means there are 18 days incorrect rain prediction. Incorrect rain prediction. So he says that 18 days are incorrectly rain prediction equal to what? Means 18 days are rainy days predicted by the weather forecaster. 80% he has given the data that predicts the right things, and obviously that 20% wrongly. So 20% of this 90 days will comes 18 days. So weather forecaster in total predicting rainy day, that is 9 plus 18. 9 plus 18, within that 9 is the correct value and 18 will be what? That is the 20% that is wrongly predicted by the weather forecaster. 80% he predicts correctly. Okay, so this total will be 27 days. 9 plus 18 will be 27 days. So probability of F here, that forecaster predicted rain, that is 27 days of out of 100. So that probability will come, that is forecasted forecaster prediction will be, this F is forecaster prediction, so probability of F will be 0.27, that is 27 divided by 100. Okay. And what we are looking, or what that particular person was looking, actually he need a value of probability of R by F, right? That is 9 by 27 is equal to 0.33. That, but actually the person who is in the example was need to know this data, that actually 9 days rain out of 27 days, that is probability of rainy day by this particular episode, that is the forecaster predicted, right? So is equal to probability of rain when the forecaster has predicted rain. Probability of R by F is equal to what? The probability of rain, this capital R, when the forecaster has predicted rain, this particular F, that is already happened, right? The forecaster has predicted rain, so these values come actually 0.33, right? So obviously, if with respect to the prediction, is it the rainy day today, and the answer is comes 0.33, then obviously you will continue with your plan of bike riding instead of a rainy dance party, right? So then what was this impressive 90% accuracy of rain, right? So that we'll see. So P of F by R will be 0.9. The probability of weather forecaster predicting rain when it has actual rain. What exactly did we want when we were planning for the bike riding? Actually, we need to find out the answer of this, but the given answer by the forecaster is this one, that is 0.9. So probability of F by R, the probability of weather forecaster predicting rain when it has actually rain. That is the probability of F by R. That is this particular F by R. This is what is 90%, and this is what probability of weather forecaster predicting rain when it has actually rain. So it will rain today. So actually we were finding of probability of R by F. When you're looking for the answer of it, it will rain today. At that time we need to find actually this value and not this value, F by R. We need to find R by F. That is the probability of raining when the forecaster has predicted rain. Probability of raining when the forecaster has predicted rain, right? And that value will come, that is 0.33. That is very unimpressive, right? So obviously probability will be 0.3 for that rainy day, right? So through this example, I think you got clear, or maybe more than 90% clear idea that what is this Bayes theorem, right? So next, let's see the basic formula of Bayes theorem. So basic formula, that is probability of E by A is equal to probability of A by E into probability of E divided by probability of A. So in our case, that is probability of R by F, that is a probability of rain, and F, that is for weather forecaster predicted it's in a rainy day. Probability of R by F is equal to probability of F by R into probability of R divided by probability of F. E by A, just swap it, A by E into probability of E divided by probability of A. This formula हा तुम्हाला माहित असेलच, obviously माहित असायलाच पाहिजे. Okay. So with respect to this, probability of R by F will come 0.9, that is F by R value, into probability of R is 0.1 divided by probability of F is 0.27. So in this case, the result will be 0.33. Now alternate formula, that according to the total probability. Now what happened with respect to that A? A is not one event. A will be more than one event. So if this particular A is more than one event, then we'll use this formula that Ej represent the events. So j is equal to 1 to n. This will be for the number of events, right? And that total number of events summation will give the result of that probability of A. So if we'll put this formula at here, it seems looks like this. This is the alternate way. Alternate we are applying when this particular A, probability of A is based on number of events, not only on one event. Okay. So first formula, probability of E by A is equal to A by E into probability E divided by probability of A. Second formula, that is based on the number of events, probability of A is computed. Okay, and this is the formula, J equal to N, that is number of events, P of J into P of A by EJ, probability of A by EJ. So we'll see the example on this. We'll see the example, that is just go read this example. That is bag one contains 3 red ball and 4 black balls. Bag one contains 3 red and 4 black, total 7 balls. While another bag 2 contains 5 red and 6 black balls. So bag 2 will contains total 11 balls. Okay. Bag 1, just understand the example so that you can understand the solution. Okay. Bag 1 contains 3 red, 4 black, total 7. While another bag 2 contains 5 red and 6 black, total 11. One ball is drawn at random from one of the bags and it is found to be red. So it is found to be red. Find the probability that it was drawn from the bag 2. Two bags, 7 and 11 balls. One ball is drawn at random from one of the bag. Two bags are there. A random one ball is picked from one of the bag, and it is found to be red. And it is found to be red. So find the probability that it was drawn from bag 2. Okay. So the solution of this, now two bags towards us, right? Two base theorem, we are looking the solution of this. Two bags, first bag contains 3 red and 4 black balls. This is our bag 1. Second bag, that is total 6 black and 5 red balls. Two bags, right? Let E1 be the event of choosing a ball from bag 1. Another event, that is E2, is the event of choosing a bag 2. That one ball we are choosing randomly from any of the bag, right? And and capital A is equal to event of drawing the red ball. So probability of E1 is equal to probability of E2 is equal to 1 by 2. We are having two bags, right? So choosing randomly any one of the bags. So probability of selecting E1, that first bag will be what, 1 by 2. Probability of E2, that is selecting a ball from the second bag, that is also 1 by 2, right? So this probability of E1 and E2 will be 1 by 2. Now probability of A by E1. Probability of A by E1. A by E1 is what? A is what? Event of drawing the red ball, provided that that ball is selected or ball is selected from the bag 1. Probability of A by E1 is what? Probability of drawing a red ball and that is selected from, choose from bag 1. This is what already happened event, already occurred event, right? So this probability will come 3 by 7. Why 3 by 7? Because in bag 1, it is from bag 1, right? So in bag 1, total red balls are what? 3. 3 red balls, and total balls are what? 7 balls. Right? So probability of A by E1 will come 3 by 7, and probability of A by E2 will come 5 by 11. Now we'll see that A2 is what? That event choosing back from 2, that is already occurred. Means we are selecting from back 2. What we are selecting? That is event of drawing a red ball. So total 11 balls are there and 5 are red. So 5 are red out of total 11. Right? So we don't need to compute here that probability of A2 by A is equal to probability of A2 into probability of A by A2 divided by probability of E1 into probability of A by E1 first event plus second event, that is probability of A2 into probability of A by A2. And these are the computation. Probability of A2 is 1 by 2, probability of A by A2 is 5 by 11 divided by probability of E1 is 1 by 2, probability of A by E1 is 3 by 7 plus probability of E2 is 1 by 2 and A by A2 is 5 by 11, and the answer comes that is 35 divided by 68. Okay. So that is the one ball is drawn at random from one of the bag and it is found to be red. Find the probability that it was drawn from the bag 2. Find the probability that it was drawn from the bag 2. So we are taken here as an E2, that second event, that is event of choosing from bag 2. Okay. Probability of E2 by A we need to compute because the probability that it has drawn from the bag 2. Okay. So answers come 35.60. So summary, that is with respect to this Bayes theorem, that understand the concept of Bayes theorem that we have seen using the scene, understand the basic formula, and at the end we have seen one example. Okay. Yes, up to this any doubts, any problem?
No, sir.
Okay. So we'll move further. Now one more topic we'll cover today, that is naive Bayes classifier. Okay. So naive Bayes classifier algorithm. Now this previous to this we have seen the Bayes theorem. Right? Now we'll see that is naive Bayes classifier. Sometimes Bayes classifier also it is termed, and sometimes naive Bayes classifier also it is termed. Okay. So a data sample example, fruit is equal to yellow, sweet and long. These are the three attributes: yellow, sweet and long. Fruit. We need to compute this particular. We need to find out the probability of that fruit should be yellow, sweet and long from this given data set. So data set is what? That is fruit. So this column represent the number of fruits: orange, banana, and all other fruits kept in the categories as an others. Okay. And the second column, that is the yellow. That is out of this orange, how many are with the yellow color? That is 350. With respect to the fruit orange, how many are sweet? So there are 450 oranges are sweet. Long, that is third attribute, that is the long, that is the length actually. So how many orange are long? So with respect to that, orange has the shape round shape, right? So it is termed as a no long, it is 0. Okay. Now with respect to the banana, that how many bananas, whatever the total bananas are there, are long. So there will be out there 350 total bananas are long. Okay. How many bananas are yellow? That is 400 bananas are yellow. How many bananas are sweet? 300 bananas are sweet over there. Long is 350. Banana is long in shape as compared to the orange. So orange is termed as a 0. It's not a long, right? So horizontal addition, that total oranges 650, banana 400, and others are 150. With respect to this total yellow fruits are 800, sweets are 850, fruits are there, long fruits are 400. Okay, so this is the data set and explanation of that. Fruit, orange, banana, various other fruits that are added in the others category. Yellow, sweet and long, these are that three attributes are considered for this fruit and these are the total. Okay, horizontal and vertical total. So the question is here that we need to find out that how many fruits are with yellow color and sweet in taste and long in their shape, that we are finding through this naive Bayes classifier. So Bayes classifier use the Bayes theorem, and Bayes theorem is what? That is probability of A by B, where B is what already occurred event is equal to probability of B by A. Here A is already occurred event into probability of A divided by probability of B. So what we are doing, that is finding the probability of fruit which is yellow, sweet and long using probability. That is naive Bayes classifier. Okay. That is finding A by B is what finding probability of A given B. Given B, that is already occurred B, and that is true. That is true means what? It is already occurred. So we'll move further. That is probability of yellow by orange. Now we are finding actually that what is the probability of a fruit given in the question, given that it's an orange. So three attributes we are looking with respect to the orange, 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 orange. You will see that first fruit we have considered, that is orange. With respect to that, we are checking that its attribute. First is yellow, sweet and long. So computation, probability of color is yellow and the fruit is orange is equal to probability of fruit is orange by color is yellow into P of yellow divided by P of orange. Now this is what the formula, probability of A by B is equal to probability of B by A into probability of A divided by probability of B. Probability of A divided by probability of B. Okay. So the computation, that is orange by yellow. So total oranges, that is 350 oranges are there total. No, total 350 yellow oranges are there out of total 800 oranges. You see here that total yellow oranges are how many? 350. Out of total yellow fruits are 800, right? So probability of orange by yellow is what? 350 divided by 800. That is total yellow fruit, and this 350 are within that yellow oranges, within that yellow oranges into probability of yellow. Probability of yellow is what? That is total 800 fruits are yellow out of total 1200. Total 1200 fruits are there, within that 800 are with the yellow. We'll see that. You will see that total fruits are 1200, right? Within that 800 fruits are yellow. So it is 800 divided by 1200 divided by P of orange, probability of orange. So there are total 1200 fruits. Within that 650 fruits are the orange. That is orange. Total orange fruits are 650, right? And total fruits are 1200. So it comes 650 divided by 1200, and the result will come 0.53. So that we have computed that probability of the fruit is yellow, right? And already occurred event, that is its fruit is the orange one. Okay. So I think you got clear about this computation, right? Probability of orange by yellow is 350 by 800. Total 800 is total yellow fruits. Within that orange are yellow. This is straight away total 1200 fruits. 800 are yellow. Total 1200 fruit. Within that oranges are 650. Right? So same way is computed. That is probability of sweet by orange. Probability of sweet by orange. That is second parameter. So replace this yellow to yellows with respect to the sweet. You will get the probability of 0.65. Right. Next, that is probability of long by orange, third attribute. Same process we need to carry it out. That is orange with respect to the yellow. Instead of yellow, that is the long into probability of long divided by probability of orange. Right. So the result will come 0. How that will see here? We need to compute that is long with respect to the orange, right? So this particular value will be 0. So this out of this 3, one value will be, that is, will become 0, and which value will come 0? That is total probability of orange by long. So how many oranges are long? There are total 650 oranges, right? 800 will be get replaced by the 400, right? So there are total 400 long, 400 long fruits are there. Out of that, long oranges are 0. So 0 divided by 400, right? So the total result will come 0. Okay. So this we are computed with respect to parameter yellow, sweet and long with respect to the orange. Is any doubt with respect to this? Yes.
No, sir.
No, sir.
So the because I haven't done the further calculation. This is the one calculation I have done. The same thing will be here and same thing will be here, right? Now, what is the probability of fruit given in the question? That given that it's an orange. So computation that fruit given in the question, that fruit is given in the question, that is set with respect to the three parameters, that is long, yellow and the yellow, that is color, long and the sweet taste. Okay. With respect to this three, that is our fruit, provided that it's an orange. That what is the probability of fruit given in the question given that it's an orange? So result will come 0.53 into 0.69 into 0 into 0. So this 0.53 is what? That is first one, that is this 0.53 yellow with respect to orange. Second sweet with respect to orange, that is the 0.69, and last that is the long with respect to the orange, right? So the total result will come 0. So our fruit is not orange, that is probability of fruit should be orange is 0. Okay, the computation of probability of fruit given that it's an orange, so that result will come 0, right? So next, now that fruit is a banana, that is probability of fruit, computation of probability of fruit given that it is a banana. So if you'll follow the same fashion, that computation of yellow with respect to banana, sweet with respect to banana and long with respect to the banana, the result will come 1 with respect to say sweet 0.75, with respect to the long it is 0.87, right? So the probability of fruit, provided that it should be the banana, is equal to 1 into 0.75 into 0.87, and result will come 0.65, right? So first we see that seen probability that fruit is orange, probability will come 0. Then we have seen that fruit is the banana, then probability comes 0.65, right? Then next, that is likewise next, that is rest of the fruit, and we term that all in the other category. So probability of fruit with respect to the others, that is given that the fruit is the other one, and the result will come 0.072, right? So this will be that other yellow, yellow with respect to other. This will be that sweet with respect to others. This will be the long with respect to the other, and result will come 0.072, right? Now, what the Bayes theorem says is that is from Bayes theorem we have computed these values, right? Now Bayes classifier is what? Now Bayes classifier, it will gives that fruit equal to banana based on the maximum of the probability, right? Maximum of the probability. So in first case, that is it probability comes 0, that with respect to orange. With respect to the banana, probability is 0.65. With respect to the others fruit, it is 0.072. Among these three value, maximum of the probability is equal to 0.65. Okay, maximum the probability is 0.65, and that is of this banana. Okay, that is the banana. So our fruit is equal to banana. So this result is given, result that computed through naive Bayes classifier algorithm. Okay. So Bayes algorithm, Bayes classifier uses the Bayes theorem, right? And the values which come through this Bayes theorem, within that maximum of the probability will be get classified as an whatever the question asked.